Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode where we had 1092. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the end of the weekend. Hey, it's a big day. I'm wearing my Bears hoodie today because it's an NFL Sunday. What's the penultimate Sunday in the NFL? Only one more NFL Sunday to go. That's the Super Bowl. I'm a big Lions fan. I'm like, I'm going to wear my Bears to support my NFC North foe, the Detroit Lions. Beat San Francisco today. And then who on the other side? I'm rooting for Taylor Swift's favorite team, the Kansas City Chiefs. So go football. I was kind of bummed there wasn't like a Saturday, and I forgot yesterday that like the divisional playoffs are Saturday, Sunday, and then the NFC Championship, AFC Championship on the same day. So I think it's like is it 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock or somewhere in that vicinity? I like that schedule, especially for today. I'm glad no football was on yesterday because it was, oh my gosh, it's almost 10. This may be the latest I've ever started a Hobby Evolution. Because I freaking slept in, but it was a long day. I was up I was at the Sheraton late for me Friday night. I don't think I got home until 9:30 on Friday night because I had to bring in some tables. Thank you to East Coast Tom for helping me out Friday night, setting a few tables up. And so Sunday I wanted to get there, get the signage in, and I wasn't setting up, which was so nice. Like I know I could have made a really good amount of money selling out of the bargain boxes. It was kind of a weak bargain box show yesterday. I'll get into that. But I could have made a good amount. But I didn't have anything new to set out. So any of my regulars would be like, this is the same stuff I saw last month. So I'm going to try to get some new stuff in fact, I think Janesville's kind of been designated my dime box because it usually falls like after I sell a lot of my newer stuff or my quarter stuff, and I'm bringing old stuff. So I think I'm just going to do dime boxes again in Janesville as I get ready to do my YouTube. I think next week we're going to do my YouTube inventory extravaganza where I'm going to get some flat rate boxes together. It's going to be a busy week this week. So maybe toward the middle to end of next week, we'll do that, and we'll go live one of the nights, maybe a Wednesday or Thursday night, and do the inventory explosion. So it was a long day. My wife flew in, and it kind of added more drama with her flight. She was flying out of West Palm Beach, and apparently the power went out at the airport. And so she had texted, she's like, power's out, so I may be delayed. And her flight was delayed. So she flew from West Palm to Minneapolis, and then her connecting flight, Minneapolis to Madison. She had initially like a 2-hour layover in Minneapolis. Perfect. More than enough time to hit your connecting flight. The problem, when you're delayed like an hour and 45 minutes, it left her about 15 minutes to meet her connecting flight. So the first time she texted me, she's like, okay, so it's just got feeling out. And then she texted me back, and this is all toward the end of the show. So I'm like, I'm not able to really respond besides, okay, keep me posted. And it got to be, we're still delayed and we can't fly until power's restored. So I'm probably going to miss my connecting flight. I'm going to book a rental car and just drive back from Minneapolis. So I'll probably be home between 2 and 3 a.m. I'm like, okay. And well, that meant I wouldn't have to go pick her up from the airport. I also don't want her to drive 3 hours at midnight by herself. So she power's restored. She ends up getting on her flight. Okay, I'm tracking it on FlightAware or whatever, Flight Radar, whatever the website is. And I'm like, damn. So it was coming down to, I think her flight was going to land at 8:44, and her connecting flight takes off at like 8:52 or 8:56. So I'm like, I'm like, holy shit, she is not gonna make this. And she had already booked a rental car because she was well prepared. The flight attendant says, "You're not going to make your connecting flight." So she's like, okay, glad I booked a rental car. So she was up front of the plane, so she was able to like grab her stuff and go. And so she's like, I was the first one off the plane. And the flight attendant, as she was leaving, she's like, good luck. I don't think you're gonna make it though. So she landed in like gate F. Her flight was gate G, which fortunately was like right next door. The gate agent at F was like, it's right there, hurry, hurry. So my wife is not a runner, and she's sprinting, and she made it on the connecting flight. So she made it. She landed. I thought, thought I was smarter than what I really am. And I'm 41 years old. I should know that I'm not as smart as I think I am. And so I'm like, okay, it's about a 25-minute drive to the airport. She's going to land at like 10 o'clock on the dot. So if I leave, plus she's got to pick up her luggage because she's been in Florida for a week, 10 days. So I'm going to leave here at 9:50. That'll get me there at 10:15, right in time as she's picking up her luggage and walking out the door. So it's either going to go. It never goes that way. It never goes that way. By the way, this is Madison Airport, so it's not like this is O'Hare or anything. This is like, it's a very small airport. So 9:50, I'm out the door. I'm watching Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble had just started, so I missed it. I'm going to have to watch the replay. I watched the Women's Royal Rumble, a couple of the matches, wasn't paying close attention. Hey, the Jade Cargill, that was a cool entrance. Anyway, I digress. So 9:50, I'm following. It's like it's gonna land a couple minutes early. All of a sudden, I'm like, where was I? Like, I was like just a couple miles down the road. She's like, landed, and I'm like, oh fuck, I still have 20 minutes of driving. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be tight. I think I was like 2 minutes out when she's like got my luggage. So I mistimed it because I thought I would have to wait a few minutes, but I was wrong. So I did mistime it. But she's home. She's still sleeping. She had a long day. I had a long day. Madison Card Show, amazing. A record amount of dealers for this installation of the Madison Card Show. I don't know. I say the largest Madison Card Show ever. There may have been one in 1993 that was bigger. I honestly don't know. I've only been here in town for 10 years. Certainly the biggest show in 10 years. Certainly my biggest show. Even when I had 3 rooms open, because I was not doing the prepayment, so I had a lot of flakes. No show and cancel at that show in May of 2022. So it didn't have as many full tables. This one jam-packed. I only had one morning of late cancel, and was able to get do a little Tetris, which I don't like doing. But that's the joy of running a card show. My philosophy in running the Madison Card Show is don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness. And that's when I jam tables into hallways. I didn't want to jam tables into the hallway, and so I fucked up. Had a guy walking around, and he's like, "Hey man, where's my tables?" And I'm like, "What's your name?" And he set up a few times, and he's like, "I said I was gonna set up every month, and like, unless you've been doing it like month after month after month, like it's not in my brain." So that was my bad. Fortunately, I had 2 extra tables that I brought in, and was able to get him set up in the hallway downstairs. He's going to be good in his spot that he's been the last couple months upstairs in the mezzanine next month. So that was an oops on my part. The banquet manager, as they were getting set up, the banquet manager walks by and he's like, "Hey, what's this?" And I'm like, "Well, I had to bring those tables in." And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Well, I oversold I'm like, is this going to be okay? Just today. It won't happen again. And he's like, you got to tell me this. I'm like, okay. I think they actually lied to me. I think they have more tables than what they tell me. Because whenever I offer to bring extra tables, and they're like, no, don't do that. So we may have to have a little conversation because I've talked to some people. I think they're hiding. Tables from me. But I now have 12 card show tables in my garage. So I was talking to Mike and John who run. I'll be set up at their show in Janesville in a couple weeks. I'm like, hey, if you need extra tables, I've got some extras. So it was a great show. It was jam-packed. I think the count ended up being, it was well over 80 dealers. I think I had 80 on my spreadsheet, but I do know that there's some people book, they're under one name, but it's like 2 dealers or 3 dealers. So I'd have to go back and kind of see. I know that was an additional one, another additional one, and downstairs I think they were 3. So yeah, there was probably close to 100 dealers actually. Now, if I'm doing the math correctly, at least downstairs, we all know my math sometimes, but there was about 10 extra. So that'd be 90. And I'm sure there was at least 10 extra upstairs. So probably 100 or more dealers, 145 tables. I'm going to try not to book that many next month. I don't want to bring in 12 tables every month. I kind of want to set up, but it really was stress relief not setting up. However, I felt busier. And I remember this from the first time I started the downstairs ballroom. I just remember running up and upstairs, downstairs. And my mom came up and helped, and she basically ran my table the entire show. And I'm like, there's no way I can run this show by myself and set up. And eventually I made it work. And I've been doing it for several months now. But it is stressful because I bring in my stuff. Now that I'm bringing in a bunch of tables, especially yesterday would have definitely been 2 trips. I don't want to make 2 trips. So I think it's either going to be, I'm going to fill those 12 tables, and what's 12 tables, $600, probably what I'm going to make as a dealer. So I guess it's kind of, if it comes down to the bottom line, dollars and cents, it's a wash. Unless I bring some really good stuff and sell a lot of cards. So I just saw Merle with my wife's flight. Yes, her luggage did make the connecting flight also, which is the biggest shocker. Her luggage did make the connecting flight. So Delta, I should have had her pick up one of those Delta trading cards that sell for like $100 or whatever. The pilots have these cards. Have you heard about that? The Delta trading cards? They're pretty crazy. And I'm sure the craze on the Delta cards has worn off. Delta, let's just type in Delta trading card. There used to be like a kids club. Oh yeah, they're down to like $20. Oh, there's one for 13. Okay. So yeah, 10 to $20. I think when people first realized they had these cards, they were selling for like $100. So not anymore. But hey, if you want to make an extra $10, there you go. Ask your Delta pilot for a trading card. Let's go to the chat, and then we'll get into Madison Card Show talk. It was quite fun yesterday. Good morning, Donald. What's happening? AA Cards in the house. Good morning. Todd is here. Good morning. Congrats on a great show yesterday. Let's go Lions. Go Detroit. I don't have any Lions shirts. Hey, speaking of, though, since we're talking about the Lions real quick, I had an older gentleman come up to me at the card show yesterday, and he goes, hey, are you Bo? And I get that a lot, and I'm always a little concerned. Well, yeah, wait, no. I don't know. It depends on what you're going to ask me or what comes next. So this gentleman, he's decked out. Lions shirt, Lions hat. He goes, I heard you run the show. I need to talk to you. and he's carrying around luggage. He's carrying around a suitcase on wheels. Okay. What's he got? So I'm getting excited. Ooh, what's he got in there? It was cool, but not as cool as like cards. But it's a vehicle for cards. It was a 1971 trading card vending machine, which is Mark. I think I saw Mark Hoyles in the chat. John Keating's in the chat. So I asked the gentleman, and he was this guy was a big collector of coin-operated machines. So he's got this, and so he's not a card guy, but he's a sports fan, and he's got this vending machine from 1971. He's trying to sell it, and it's really cool. And it's like, oh man, but what am I going to do with it? So he was in the ballpark of he was kind of all over the place. Like he's like, I've got it on eBay for $350, but obviously local, you know. He's like, I've got an offer of 200 and somebody offered 175. So I'd sell it for 225. And I'm like, okay, your highest offer is 200. So I'll just match that, or 201. So I'm like, I'm talking myself out of it. Cool. So I don't know what cards would have been in this vending if it was an actual, and it did say like, I should have had him send me the photos. But I think he's going to end up putting it on Facebook Marketplace. Me and one of the other dealers downstairs, Ben, we're just kind of like thinking of people who would be interested in that. You know, there is a card shop here in Madison, Jim's Card Corner. He actually does have like a card vending machine in his store. I said, might be worth stopping. He's like, Jim's Coins? And I'm like, no, it's not the coin shop. It's like an actual card shop on University down by the hospital. So, and then Ben knew of somebody, I think, in the Milwaukee area. So a cool, kind of a cool, unique item. I think that's one of the more fun things is just seeing some of the unique items. And there were more unique items at yesterday's card show, Madison Card Show, than what I've seen in some time. Unicorn Cupcake, who's in our chat every once in a while, Kevin, he's laying out he's got like Venezuelans, like in a 5, like a SGC and a PSA 5 and a 3 and a 4. And I'm like, damn, like most Venezuelans I see, like if I see them at a monthly show, they're going to be like raw. Like I bought some like 70s Venezuelans, like of, you know, guys with a cup of coffee in the big leagues who played for the Cubs. I bought those at the Spectacular, but just because I never see them, even at a show like the Chicago Sports Spectacular, yeah, sometimes you'll see some of the bigger names. But yeah, he had a Yaz, he had a Bob Gibson, he had an Ernie. I think the Ernie was in a 4. It was cool. And he had, I just saw, and I know what it looks like, the first issue of Beckett. And he had multiple periodicals on the table. And I'm like, is this the first issue? And he's like, that's the reprint. So it's in 2001, and I should have bought it because it is something. I don't think I'm going to spend the $100 to $200 on the actual real first issue just for a magazine. If the reprint has everything that the original had in it, just copied, then I think that's good enough for my collection, my Beckett collection. But he also had like the encyclopedia of baseball cards from whenever they were printed. He had 3 of those at $50 each. And I'm like, that seems like a good price. I've always wanted one of those, like one of those old encyclopedia of baseball cards, just to have. I'm a nerd. I'm such a nerd when it comes to that. I think most of us probably are. So he had some cool stuff. So that's unique. The trading card vending machine that came off the street. My buddy East Coast Tom set up for the first time, and he's like, dude, I am going to be a regular at this show. This was amazing. And he had Slurpee cups, and he's got old pocket schedules from the 20s and 30s, and just he had bargain boxes, just a lot of cool stuff, a lot of variety. I did have a complaint on the Facebook page, the Madison Card Show Facebook page. No NASCAR. Like, oh, there was more hockey than usual. Eric was back. Eric's got hockey. East Coast Tom had hockey. I saw some other, I know Tony from Oak Creek, he brought some vintage hockey. So there was more hockey in the rooms than in past months. John says you're dressed like you're playing the 1970s Broncos. Yeah. Good morning, Flawed Thinker. What's going on? Bargain Boxer says, how come it's not saying? There you go. What are you going to do when you have a 200 plus dealers want to set up at the Madison show? Well, you just turn them away. I didn't have 200 plus dealers, but I had, I turned away about 30 people. And it's just like, once I'm sold out, I'm sold out. I had somebody come up to me and they're like, hey, I've tried to get in the show for a couple months. How long is the waiting list? I'm like, I don't have a waiting list. You just have to reach out to me more than a week in advance, because I'm usually sold out, especially this time of year, I'm sold out 3 weeks out. My list is already, and I haven't added some of the regulars, is already at 50 plus dealers just under names. So usually like 75 is kind of where I want to be. That's when I know that, okay, it's time to make sure. I was talking to my wife about this. She's like, she's like, why don't you create a Google Doc? And I'm like, that's what I do. And she's like, well, why are you making why are you overbooking? And I'm like, because I'm not very organized, even with the Google Doc. So after this month, I'm going to buckle down. Just like I said last week, I'm going to focus. That's my problem, is I don't focus. It's like people book and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get the regulars added in. And then when I get them added in, I realize I'm overbooked. So it's completely 100% my fault. I'll take full ownership of it. So this problem has existed. Like I sell out. I've only not sold out since September or October of 2021. And that was just in one room. I didn't even open the hallway. I think I opened the hallway for the first time in January of 2022. So I had sold out the room in like October, November, sold out the room and the mezzanine in January, and then essentially sold out the 2 ballrooms in the mezzanine in February. And now it's just, April of 2022 was one of the bigger waiting list months. So that's already happening to where it's once I fill up. Now regulars have they're locked in, especially like the Lambricks. When you walk in, Matt Skaggs, they've been with me since like the first couple shows. They're just locked in. The guys from Rockford locked in, John locked in, Cardboard Bros, Max and Craig and Elijah. Like there's a lot, and I'm missing some they're just every month. So obviously they're there, they get their spots. And then, new regulars come along, Ben and James Yackley and Jim Fitzpatrick and Andy Vogel and Joel and Greg. So a lot of, and I apologize, but they get their spots. So now it's come to the point where the downstairs ballroom used to be like, oh, we don't want to go down there. Now it's like, I don't really have any space for any new dealers because I've got regulars that want to be there. And sometimes I have new dealers that want to be in that room. So I had somebody, they're like, I think they were in the hall. They've been kind of, because they're not regulars. So they set up once, they were downstairs. They set up the last time a couple months ago, they were in the hallway. This time I had a spot in the upstairs ballroom. And they're like, can we get that spot? And I'm like, well, that's 5-star spot. They weren't here this month. But I can probably get you in the room because I have more spots available in this room than I do downstairs. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah. It's like half the people want to be up here. Half the people want to be down there. This is it's the perfect scenario now. It took a few months to get that worked out, maybe a year to get that stigma off the new room, what was called the overflow. But here we are. Good morning, Dave. What's happening? Double A's got some good eBay sales. They're going nuts for him. That's good. Not going nuts on my end, but I haven't really added anything. And so I don't know what your situation is. And I think a lot of this has because I'll see this, especially if you're on the blowout forums, there's a thread in the eBay section, and it's multiple pages, a lot of good information in there if you're selling on eBay. And they'll be like, a couple guys are like, oh, this week was nuts. I was off the charts. And then a couple guys are like, this is like the worst month or worst week I've had in months, and vice versa. And then it flips. And I think some of it I think it's us as individual sellers that we control our own destiny, obviously. I think a lot of it has to do my slower sales the last few days. I had big sales last week. Why did I have big sales last week? I put like 2,000 cards in my inventory. Why were my sales slower this week? I had the Madison Card Show. I had a lot of balls in the air. Didn't really add much to my eBay store this week. Sales are down. Hopefully this week things turn around. I'll have time to list. I've got my Bowman getting close to sorted. Finishing that. I've got some Stadium Club I'll be putting in the store. Just a few cards I picked up at the show yesterday. I did get some good leads I'll go into. I'm going to have to write some of this stuff down so I don't forget. What did I buy? Leads on collections. So we're just all over the place today. All right. So yeah, my eBay sales are a little down. Yesterday was okay. Yesterday was a little below average. Thursday was one of the worst days, one of the worst single sales days I've had in months. Friday was not much better. Saturday was an improvement, and off to probably a average. It's 10 a.m. off to an average start. January's not looking good. January's not off to a good start. It's definitely below January 2023. I do know that. Jamie, what's going on? Good morning. Philly Joe, what's happening? He's rooting for the Lions. I think everybody outside of San Francisco, a Lions fan today. Although I do know there's a lot of 49ers fans. I think you can thank Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, which, by the way, speaking of eBay and the 49ers, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice sales have been absolutely crazy for me this week. Like, I can't keep those players in stock. They've been retired for, 25 years? So I actually did pick up a couple of their card, like some color mosaic modern stuff out of a quarter box. I'm like, I could probably flip this for a couple bucks if I get it up. That's what she said before kickoff today. But if the 49ers win, which we don't want, if the 49ers win, there's a little longer run time for some of those guys, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice. Double A's listing some 2006 Topps Series 1. Interesting. There's probably not too many of those on eBay. Merle, what's happening? We just live in the fog now. Get used to it. Philly Joe says, congrats, FT. James says flat rates went up $1.20. Mikey's in the house. He says, good morning. I just reached 7,000 listing. Congratulations. John says people underrate how stressful air travel is. I hate air travel. Christian, good morning. Happy Championship Sunday. 14-year-old me has been 30 years for this day to come again. Yeah. BPL in the house. Good morning. Some good football games today. Absolutely. Ravens, Chiefs, Lions, Niners. Happy Sunday, Brian. What's going on? Stuke's in the house. Good morning. Kyle is here. What's up? Bargain Boxer says, as long as Panini and Fanatics print rocket cards to the moon, more dealers than ever, more buyers than ever, and less money spent than ever because of the economy. There was a lot of, the only difference, and this has actually been a trend for a while, a lot of money was being spent. A lot of money was being spent. I did not have many dealers. And when you have over 100 dealers at a show, there are going to be dealers, whether it's just they don't have the stuff that people want, or they're overpriced, or not willing to work, or just have junk. There's going to be a few dealers that, not good. I had one dealer tell me how much he made last month. And then he's like, yeah, I'm going to do about half of that, which is still better than usual. So I know last month which I was shocked at how much money was being thrown around at the December 30th Madison Card Show. A lot of money was being thrown around. There were not as many big buyers. A lot of money that comes through the Madison Card Show, like, is in terms of big buyers that are spending a lot of money, were not in the area. They were down in Atlanta at Culture Collision. I know multiple people that will come to Madison if there's not a big card show anywhere else across in the country, will come to Madison. And Atlanta Culture Collision was this weekend. So a lot of the big money was down in Georgia this weekend. So, and I know a lot of the big money buyers were in Madison last month because there wasn't really any other big shows across the country. So Boston Sports Cards flew in last month. So So still, I had a lot of reports, even the bargain box guys were like, I made this much out of my dime boxes. So there's still a lot of money being spent. I think kind of the trend, what I heard yesterday was smaller dollar cards. And one dealer even mentioned, he's like, I don't even bring $100 plus cards anymore because the market's in the 20 to 100 is the sweet spot. That's what's moving. That's what's moving quickly. Are bigger cards selling? Absolutely. But it's that sweet spot under $100, your $20 to $100 singles. That's what's moving. Mark Hoyle in the house. Good morning. James says a lot of good bargain digging, a little swampy, and got a speeding ticket in Janesville for going 9 over on the. Were you on the interstate, or were you out on the 2 lanes? Because I'm going way over. I'm usually, if I'm on the interstate, I'm doing probably 15. I'm usually, no, I think the interstate's 70. I'm usually doing 83. 83. And then on the highways, I'm usually doing 70 in a 55. So I need to watch it. I need to find out where you got your speeding ticket so I can be alert. Zach and Porter in the house. Bargain Boxer says hi. Orlando is here. Good morning. Zach says Sheraton is using microtransaction fees from eBay to source the extra tables they don't tell vendors about. Major scam in Dane County. Good luck cracking. Well, now I got a little clue. I'm going to dig into this. Yeah, good job. Luggage made it. Royals 417, good morning. Big show in Lee's Summit yesterday, down to just over 100 cards for the 72-set successful day. Nice. Congrats. How about we let the kids have the Delta cards like it was intended? Well, are the pilot cards drink tickets or a card? Was I coming back? I think I was coming back from spring training last year, and I was at the airport bar, and a pilot sits down next to me at the stool next to me and orders a drink. And of course, the jokes with the drunk pilots. And I just looked over and I joked, and I'm like, where are you flying? And he goes, oh. And he's like, I should probably take this off. His Delta, whatever, your pilot coat or whatever they wear. Suitcase on wheels, that's my jam. There you go. Troy's in the house. Good morning. Mark would have bought it. This is why there were vending boxes. Venezuelan cards are awesome, made to be pasted in albums. Yeah, in fact, Kevin showed me the back of one of them, and I think it was a raw card, was paid, and you could see the number. I think it was number 7 of the set or whatever, and you could see a 7 that it had been glued into an album. Mark says, very true, Orlando. Most have back damage. 8 did the Red Sox run of Venezuelans. Raphael is here. What's going on? Max says, Dad loved talking to Tom. Tom is the best. East Coast Tom is awesome. And I'm glad he's now going to be a regular to the show. Merle says, I got some NASCAR at the Minnesota Card Show. James says there was a massage class downstairs in the ballroom. That's what was going on down there. Well, heck, I wish I would have known. Kyle says, can't really expect to find a lot of NASCAR at a show. Table space is key. Better to fill it with something more buyers want. That being said, I would love to go to an all NASCAR show. Zach says, am I the only one concerned with the actual Cubs count with this self-awareness around counting 100 tables? We need to audit the Chico Walker 1987 tops before any milestone is proclaimed. Come on over. You're welcome to count. If you can't trust my count, I'm more than willing to let others count for me. John says you're going to have to raise your table price. I did. I did. I didn't raise the table prices, but I took away the volume discount. So it's just a $50 flat fee per table. It was 2 for 80, 3 for 120. So they raised my prices at the venue for 20. They raised it 25%. So, I get an additional, probably doing the numbers 17%. So I am eating a little bit of it. But I don't want to go up to 75 per table because I think that would I think there's that tipping point where if you raise the table price to 50 to 75, I think a lot of the single table dealers would be out. And then I think and then all of a sudden I'm not selling out. Would the money work? I think it would end up being a wash. Christian says, are the people who are locked into the show locked into your Google sheet? Sounds like that is the problem. They're not. So I basically 1 month out, I create the sheet for next month, unless somebody says I'm out this month, but I'm back in March. I did create the March sheet. The reason I don't like doing that is because, especially with a non-regular, it's like, oh, I'm in if they don't prepay, and all of a sudden it's the week before the show. Then I have to go follow up with people, with dealers, and be like, hey, you said 3 months ago you were going to do this show. Oh, I forgot all about that. That's the problem I was running into early on in the shows. Prepayment really helps alleviate a lot of those issues. So I have been creating a couple months out, especially when people do, like if a new dealer says, hey, I can't do the next 2 months, or if I was sold out, but I'll do March, and they pay, obviously I get them in March paid. So that is the problem. I just need to lock in. Especially, I mean, there's some of the dealers that I mentioned, they're like locked in every single month. Like they're automatic. I don't even have to worry about, I don't even have to ask anymore. Like there's a handful of dealers I don't even have to ask. I know every once in a while there's some that, and they're good with, hey, I'm not going to be here. I don't want to lose my spot. And I had a couple people like, hey, I'm not going to be here in April. I probably won't be here. And I don't have the April date yet, but I probably won't be available in April. But I don't want to lose, but I'll be here the rest of the year. I don't want to lose my spot. I'm like, you're not going to lose your spot, especially if you give me 3 months notice. You're not going to lose your spot, and I'm not going to take anybody's spot away for missing, a month. Low roller scratchers in the house. I did hear about Vince McMahon. I didn't hear about the website, but I heard all the gruesome, gory details about Vince McMahon and his fetishes. Tom, there he is. East Coast Tom. I did tremendous in my inaugural Madison Card Show. Thanks for giving me space. Thanks for coming. I've been hoping that you would set up one of these days. So I'm glad you did. And I'm looking forward to next month having you back. Brian, he's one of the few Niners fans. Only first one I've seen in the chat so far. Royals 417. Pretty hard to erase history, delete from websites. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. Like, you're not going to delete Vince McMahon from He is, whether you like his sexual assault record, allegedly, or not. It's kind of like Michigan Wolverines won the national championship. You can take the banner down, but you can't erase what they did. They still, in like the Patriots records, like you can erase it from the record books, but it still happened. So I agree with Matt right there. Delete from the website. Absolutely. History happened. Greg Lopez, what's going on? Good morning. Do I have to have a Ricoh scanner so Card Dealer Pro can recognize my cards better? No, that is not at all. You can use anything you want. You can use a website photo. You can go to Trading Card Database and just use a stock photo and upload that to Card Dealer Pro. You can use a Minolta camera from 1986 and somehow get that to your computer. I don't know how that works, but you can do that. You can use an Epson. You can use a Fujitsu, a Ricoh, a Brother, a Canon, a Hewlett Packard, whatever. You can use anything you want as long as it's an image. And the scanner, the only thing that's going to make a difference is the image quality. So if you do take a photo with like a 1986 Minolta, the camera, the photo may be, a little blurry. I don't know. But it just depends on image quality. And that's why this is why a lot of the Chrome Prism cards don't get identified very well in Card Dealer Pro, because the feed scanners especially don't really take good images. And so sometimes they come in really dark. And so the AI can't pick those up. So that's why a lot of the Prisms and Chromes and all that stuff is tough to get identified with the AI. Andy Mack is in the house. Good morning. Tom says, thanks to Max. Let's see. John says LRS making sense. What did he say? He said they can't erase Vince McMahon history from WWE. Should MLB erase Houston Astros cheating World Series? I mean, you can try, but we lived it. We know it happened. Porter, what's going on? How do we do, you fellow kids? What's going on? NCAA always vacating wins. Yeah, and they happened. You can do it, but it happened. Like we know we know Reggie Bush won the Heisman Trophy. Whether it's not on the website, like we know Reggie Bush is a Heisman Trophy winner. Whether he has the trophy in his closet or it's in the NCAA headquarters, it happened. We all know it happened. Cooter, what's up? Good morning. Shipped some cards. Now it's time to get serious. Listing my duplicates. Love it. Love it. John says WWFE has been shady forever. Absolutely. There was some serious stuff that went down 30 years ago, more serious than the current deal. That's why I think wrestling is such a turnoff. I don't know if 30 years ago was any more serious than, I think it's equally serious what happened in the early 90s. Paper towels. So because there was the Ring Boy scandal, there was, obviously steroids and all that stuff. There's just been Jimmy Snuka, the cover up of Jimmy Snuka, and that was in 1983. That was 40 years ago. So yeah, there's been, I'm sure there was, in you go back in wrestling history, not just WWF, WWE, but you look at the territories, there's been shady shit going on in professional wrestling for decades, if not a century. Joe Trotto, good morning. Greg, what's happening? Let's see. You don't think underage kids being sexually exploited is more serious? It's as serious. It's just as serious as adults being sexually exploited. I think it's equally serious. Any sexual exploitation is super serious. I don't think there's a gauge. I don't think there's a scale on sexual assault. It's all absolutely terrible. I don't think we can grade it, whether it's a 17-year-old or a 47-year-old. And I think we can end that conversation. So Madison Card Show, I didn't buy much. It was kind of a disappointing for me. There were some good bargain boxes, and I guess it depends on what type of bargain boxes you're looking for. Now, what I'm looking for in bargain boxes is stuff I can flip. I'm looking for a $5 card in a $1 box. And usually you kind of know who the dealers are that have those. But there were some new dealers that were new boxes, not new. Yeah, some new dealers had bargain boxes, but I did find some stuff. Jack had some goods. Actually, I think my first purchase was from John. You may know John. He's got the cigar boxes. Sometimes wears a Britney Spears shirt. Great dude. He's one of my regulars that's automatic. And since we're talking about wrestling, I wanted to get off that subject, but since we're talking about wrestling, he was the first purchase I made. And I did tweet out this last night. So I think I was at the table next to him digging through bargain boxes. We were talking about wrestling, and he's like, I've got some. He's like, I didn't know you like. I'm like, oh yeah, I love wrestling, and I love the cards. Now I'm not going to keep them, but I'll flip them. So he's like, I've got a whole bunch. He's like, I've had them. I'll give you a good deal on them. I think there's even some autograph and serial numbered cards in there. So there was some like vintage wrestling cards. You can say 80s was vintage in the wrestling trading card market. 1985, George the Animal Steel. Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. The U.S. Express, Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo. I love the stickers. Captain Lou Albano. Another Captain Lou. We got Cyndi Lauper from the Rockin' Wrestling Connection. Let's see. We've got Sheiky Baby. Iron Sheik with the camel clutch. I think that's a jobber. I wonder what jobber that is. Let's see. Another sticker. Oh, this is JYD. This is where's George at? This is George's favorite wrestler, the Junkyard Dog. Couple modern cards. This is an early Triple H card, early-ish, 2004. I guess it's not too early, but 2004. It's an insert. I'm guessing. I don't know the wrestling card market too much. I know the WWF magazine cards are good. 85 Tops is good. The stickers. But I don't know what a 2004 insert's going to sell for. I'm guessing I can put it in my store for $2.50. That's kind of what I'm going on. This is another Triple H. This is it's numbered out of 2011, but it's not a gold. It's a light blue or whatever. But I think this maybe $5. I don't know. This I just grabbed. I think it's cool. It's from 1999. Hogan Savage. It is a sticker. WCW Uncensored from 98. And then the best card, an autograph. Paul Ellering, who was manager of the Road Warriors / Legion of Doom. So Paul Ellering auto. And he had some Three's Company cards, and I'm like, and I almost picked out some Suzanne Summers stickers, but I held off. But I did grab some Simpson stickers. These sell pretty well on eBay. Usually sell for about $2.50 shipped. Bartman, Marge Simpson, and another Bart Simpson. So I got all these cards. I think there's 16 total. Yeah, there was 12 wrestling, 4 stickers, 16 cards for $10. So that was a great deal, and I'll be putting those in my eBay store. The table right next to him was Jack's table, and he had some quarter boxes, and so he had a lot of Bowman. I should have just asked to buy it all. So I picked out some Kyle Harrison first Bowman Chromes. Pulled, I guess there's I thought there were more, but only 3 Roman Anthony, but these are selling for $5-6 on eBay. He's moved into the top 10 of all baseball prospects here in the 2024 in some of the publications. A couple of Spencer Jones first Chromes. These might sell for $4 or $5. Kevin Alcantara, it's a paper. Travis Kelce, try to get that listed today. Just to get, here's the Rice and Montana's color mosaics. Tom Brady, I'll pull all Tom Brady's out of quarter boxes. Christopher Morel, obviously that goes into my Cubs collection, along with the Jefferson Rojas. Lazaro Montez first chrome. One more Spencer Jones. So there were 3 Spencer Jones. DePaula first chrome. Paige Spiranak, I figure from a golf. I think she's and I think she's more just because of her looks, she's going to sell. And then Joe Alt, he's going to be a top 10 pick likely in the NFL draft in a couple months. Notre Dame offensive lineman. So there were 2 of his cards, and then Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Lions. So just trying to take advantage of the Lions today, and maybe in the Super Bowl. So I got those all for, I think five. I paid $5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So there's 25. I don't even know what's 25 and 25, $6? I should probably know that. That doesn't sound right. 25 times 25, 625. I was close. So got those for a little under 25 cents. John Boomer right across the way. He's usually got some good Cubs stuff. And so he's like, hey, I held back these Cubs. And there was one of the short print Halloween Matt Mervis. You know how I love Matt Mervis. And then Topps Holiday, numbered out of 99. I got those. I think he charged me $5 for these 2. So obviously those go in the Cubs collection. What else did I buy? I had some gifts. Unicorn Cupcake. Kevin gave me he gave me a cupcake, which I just now put that together. Unicorn Cupcake. He gave me a cupcake. 89 Topps Tiffany, Frank DiPino. And a 1962 Topps Kuno Baragon. So thank you, Kevin. And then Somebody gave, now I forget who gave, somebody gave me this card. I think it was a customer. I think a customer just handed it. No. It was a new dealer. I think it's James, a first-time dealer who drove in from Eau Claire. And I'm like, wait, how come you didn't set up at the Eau Claire show? And then the Minster Bros also came in from Minnesota, gave me this. Jeff Samardzija. They didn't have any Cubs. They have a great selection of Bowman, but there were no Cubs. So they're like, hey, we feel bad. We didn't bring you Cubs. So here's a gift. Jeff Samardzija rookie E-Tops numbered out of 749. So thank you, Minster Bros. Always good to have them down. And then the Ferry Brothers, who are one of my show sponsors. I just started pulling out Cubs, like anything that was like under 10, or I think a couple of these were a little over 10. And I don't think I've bought from them. And so I don't know what type of deals they give. But I know they're very popular among customers. People are buying. I think Max, before he started setting up, would spend like the entire day at their table. So I got a Christian Hernandez Leaf Trinity auto out of 25. A Caleb Killian auto out of 299. An Ed Howard Leaf Trinity Clear Ed Howard auto out of 20. In a Ramos Ramirez Tier 1 auto out of 249. A Miguel Amaya, whatever color that is, fuchsia. It's numbered out of 299. And a Nico Horner Donruss Optic auto. And so I didn't even add up. I just grabbed a whole bunch of cards. And what's cool is they have a sticker on it, so I could go back and see how good of a deal I got. And I think they charged me, what's the sticker price? 16, 31, 45, 51, 59, $40. $59 on sticker price. They charged me $40. So that's a heck of a deal. So that's all I bought yesterday. That's all I bought. But I did get some good leads on collections. One collection, a guy actually came up to me, and he's actually a customer that I bought a whole bunch of stuff from like 2 months ago. Unfortunately, he had a friend that passed away, had like a run of complete sets from like the 70s all the way to present, including Bowman. And so he kind of gave me a ballpark and kind of what it is. Actually, I had leads on 3. I forgot about, because I was talking about one of them I might have to rent a U-Haul van. And so that was the third. That's Joel. So we're gonna set up a date this week to take a look at what he has, and he kind of gave me an estimate on what they're looking to get. So that could be a nice collection buy. Another one was a bulk lot from Jeff, Zach's favorite bargain box dealer. Jeff's been a regular at my show. Love having him at the show. And he's like, hey, would you be interested in like 300,000 cards from like the last 5 years? And I'm like, yes, but it depends. If it's 300,000 top series 1 from 2021, no. But he's like, oh, there's going to be Bowman. He's like, I don't know anything about Bowman, so I don't cherry pick any of that. Because he had a bulk lot that there's like Julio Rodriguez first Bowman's in there. I'm like, oh shit, I should have pounced. So he's going to send me some generic picks just so I have an idea. He gave me a rough price on that as well. It's a little more than what I pay for bulk, but at the same time, if there's stuff like that in there, a good amount of it, I can make that number work. So we'll see. And then Joel has some stuff, and I think Joel's stuff and he gave me a rough estimate on what he wants, which is a really good price, but I would probably have to rent a U-Haul. Because I think he said it might be 300,000 cards also, which is probably a little more than what can fit my SUV, but it might be 200,000 cards. And so he's going to send me some more details, and he gave me a rough cost on what he's looking to get. So we'll see. I need to sell some bulk of my own before I add any of this stuff. So we shall see. Let's go to the chat real quick. We'll wrap things up. I've got to bring up paper towels. Let's see, where are we at? I did not watch. I watched the Women's Royal Rumble and a couple of the matches. I only watched the first few minutes of the Men's Royal Rumble before I had to go to the airport, so I will watch that at some point, maybe today. I did miss 5-star. Yeah, I missed those bargain boxes. No, I don't think anybody sells Funko Pops. Maybe a couple dealers just have a few on their tables, but no, Funko Pops not a big thing. Let's see. I'd like to make it up to a Madison Card Show in the near future. What's UW's biggest conference home game this season? Got to make the most out of my trip. Are you talking basketball or football? I guess basketball season's about over. So let's 2024. The funny thing is I used to when I started the Madison Card Show, I had to avoid weekends with big events. Now it doesn't affect it. Which is good, which is really good. 2024 Wisconsin football schedule. I don't know if this is the year where most of the big games are away, because I think we had quite a few home games. Okay, so 2024 is up. We've got a home game against Western Michigan, followed by a home game against the South Dakota Coyotes. Oh, shit. How about Saturday, September 14th, when Alabama comes to town? But I probably won't have a card show that day. September 28th would have been, unfortunately, there won't be a Madison Card Show the same day that Alabama's in town. September 28th would be a possibility, but that's against USC, but it's in Los Angeles. So August 31st, that would potentially be a show, but that's Labor Day weekend. I try to avoid Labor Day weekend. I do Memorial Day weekend. But I typically avoid Labor Day. So, but I may not have a choice. It just depends. So that's a possibility. August 31st, there's a home game against Western Michigan. September, it's unlikely that there's a Wisconsin home game on the same day. Going into October, we've got Purdue on October 5th. We've got at Rutgers on October 11th. We've got at Northwestern on October 19th. October 26th, that's a date that I will try to get a Madison Card Show. Penn State is in town on October 26th, so that could coincide with a good conference game. Penn State, Wisconsin, October 26th. November 23rd, that's probably, and I always try to do that. Oh, that's at Lincoln. So it looks like it's either potentially August against Western Michigan or October against Penn State. So October would be a fun one. Do they have a time? And sometimes the times do change. To be announced. Yeah, because I think TV stuff. Does Card Dealer Pro recognize UFC? I don't think so. It recognizes wrestling, but I don't think it recognizes UFC. I could be mistaken. Merle uploading my first video showing my pickups from the Minnesota Card Show yesterday. A 6-minute video is taking quite a while to get uploaded. Well, that's a bummer. Is it maybe your internet speed? I don't know. I saw that. Dave's in the house. He says the Western Illinois Leathernecks lost by double digits. I had a feeling they would lose yesterday against Morehead State. And I still think Western is going to finish. My early prediction was Western would finish 4th in the regular season in the OVC. I think it's probably going to be 2nd or 3rd now. I think Morehead State's going to win the conference regular season, but I still think Western could win the tournament and go to the first ever NCAA tournament for the program. And they've been Division I for over 40 years now. Let's see. Porter wants to know Merle's channel name. There it is. MI3 Cards. Same as his username. This video has been trying to upload for quite a while. Does it really take this long, or am I doing something wrong? It might be your internet speed. It just might be. And 6 minutes is kind of a long to upload. Not too long, but I don't know how long it took. I had my highlight video, my Madison Card Show highlight video last night was a little over 4 minutes. I don't know how long it took. I don't know. Maybe check your internet speed just to see. Max says, plus they are just good dudes. Good conversation while you're going through stuff. They just don't sit there like an old girl. Right. That's a big thing. I think a lot of dealers that don't make sales or complain about sales don't engage. And I understand a lot of customers don't want to talk. And you can get a sense, when I'm on the other side of the table as a dealer and I try to engage, I can tell right away if the person on the other side doesn't want to talk. And I'm in and out. I'm not going to push a conversation. Sometimes you have to push it. Sometimes that's just people, are a little shy and they don't want to, it takes a while for them to open up, but I don't push it. I let the other person decide if they want to have a conversation or not. So it is always good if the dealer is willing to talk, if that's your thing. Sometimes I don't care. Like sometimes I'm just digging and I don't care if anybody's around me talking. Sometimes it's fun, like especially if I'm with somebody I know, like Bronco. If I'm sitting with Bronco at a bargain box table, like I enjoy just talking. And both of us, like it's not like we're yapping away, but sometimes we'll come across a card and we'll just chit chat, and then we go back to digging. Low Roller Scratcher just ruined it for me. I had a feeling he was going to win though. If you can't find me under MI3 cards, you might need to look for MI3 cards 856. I don't know where that came from. If people respond but are short, don't talk. But man, you can get to know somebody and curate inventory for them the next show. Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I've met so many regular customers. Like, how do you get regular customers engage? And I've got a guy, and I recognize him, and I saw he was at the show yesterday, and I said, "Hey, sorry, I'm not set up today. I don't have." He's collecting mascot cards. So when I come across mascot cards, and he buys them all, and I know to now, like normally I wouldn't put mascot cards in my quarter boxes, or if I would, they would be all over the place. But now I know I can make $10 on 40 or 50 cards. You can give him a deal. Mike, who actually was at the show yesterday, and I had a box for him. I didn't even see him, but he's going to be in Janesville, and I will be set up in Janesville. So I've got Aaron Rodgers, Mahomes, Trout, Acuna, all those for him. It's an easy sale. Somebody says, I will buy all the Ken Griffey Jr. cards you have for a quarter. I'll pull Ken Griffey Jr. cards. So absolutely. All righty. So that's what I had. Madison Card Show, another success. Next show is Saturday, February 24th at the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolen Drive. The goal is to not be as big as this month because it's kind of a pain in the ass to put tables, and I don't think the hotel really likes me jamming tables in the hallways. Probably a fire code issue. So come out and see us February 24th. Come see me and the other dealers. I think Max is going to be in Janesville in 2 weeks. Or is it 3 weeks? Might be 3 weeks. February 18th. Oh, yeah. It's the weekend before the Madison Card Show, which I think is a Sunday. Janesville has kind of been back and forth on Saturdays and Sundays. So I think the next Janesville show's on a Sunday, February 18th. I guess I have a calendar that I can look that up. February 18th. This is Sunday, Janesville, Wisconsin, Holiday Inn Convention Center. Come out and see me. I've got some shipping to catch up on, so I'm going to go do that. At some point, I might come in here and do some listing this afternoon. No weekends off for Max. Sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. It's good, but then all of a sudden it's like I need a weekend off. So I think I have a couple weekends off, and then I'll be back in Janesville, back to back, Madison, Janesville. And then a couple weeks after that, it's off to spring training. Anyway, hit my eBay store up. I'll try to get some of these cards that I showed off today listed into my eBay store. I opened up some Stadium Club on Friday. There's a video. If you haven't seen that, check out the video ripping 3 blasters of Stadium Club and a blaster or a mega box of Prism Football. That's on my YouTube channel. Highlights from yesterday's show if you want to see what you missed if you weren't there, or if you want to see some stuff that maybe you didn't see if you were at the show anyway. Check out the highlight video on my YouTube channel. Check out Bronco's channel, Baseball Card Illustrated on YouTube. He did a couple videos from the show yesterday, including a video bar rips. We sat at the hotel bar and ripped a blaster with East Coast Tom. So check that out. I don't know if that's live yet, but should be this week on Baseball Card Illustrated. Hit up my eBay store. The link is in the description, and it's scrolling across the bottom of your screen. 99centcards.com. When you buy 7 or more, you'll get 25% off in my store. And again, I'll try to add
more inventory today and tomorrow. So with that, I'm out. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Back on tomorrow at our regular time, 7 a.m. Central. Go Lions and go Chiefs. See you tomorrow.